log on. Okay, so as most of you know, we actually have several partners right now for lending. We're setting up our second one. And help me out, and I'd love your guys' opinion, because I've gotten very differing opinions from different people on this. Most lenders partner with agents. Okay, like he's my referrer, this is my partner, this is, okay? Then you have teams of brokerages. And I think they're a little bit different. I have an issue saying, you need to use my guy. I really, really prefer you use my guy. Can you use my guy too? And if you're going to be here, that's not right. I don't think a brokerage should pressure any agent to use any particular lender. Okay? And I feel better partnering with two, because I have plenty of leads that go around. If they want to help me out, wonderful. But that gives you guys an option. We're not lumped, and I think it actually helps, like, is it RESPA or whatever, that we're even more adhering to stuff. Can I get your opinions on that?
No, I agree with you. I think there's always personality issues or things you have to take into consideration, and I don't think when you provide one resource on anything to your clients or to us as agents, I don't think that always is a one-size-fits-all solution. That's just my opinion.
Because we all know our lenders, and I know this guy's great for this, and this guy's great for this, and depending on the client's scenario, is I'm like, here's some other ones, but I know this guy can handle what you have going on.
Absolutely, I agree. And so it's been a little bit tough because a lot of mortgage brokers, they don't see it that way. And if we're going to be doing it, we want to be your sole provider and things of that nature. So it's been tough trying to find people that have the same ideals as we do. And so Joe Prestio, he was our Great American rep. He's now branch manager of Academy Mortgage, of one of the things. And he's got several great officers. And again, he was like, well, I have my branch. And we tried giving his branch and all of his people access to our stuff. And again, I'm not good partnering with a whole branch because one or two might be wonderful, you can't guarantee. And so, again, just like in any office, I guess, you have your performers and then people who aren't quite performing. So it was like, man. So as of now, we have Academy Mortgage, Joe Prestia. He's one of my buddies. He's a great guy. He takes great care of us. And it's Brett, his one go-to lender.
I met with him.
What did you think?
He was amazing. He brought another late Aaron Shaver.
Can you hear us okay, Tom? Sorry. Okay, I can't hear you, but I think you responded, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. But he can answer, we were asking all these different questions, and he could answer them, so he's very knowledgeable.
Perfect.
But he's the branch manager. So I don't know how much he still day-to-day does, or how much
Brett?
I think, yeah.
Brett, if you text him, he'll text you back.
Yeah, he's seen
PDQ. I've texted him, I've worked with him on weekends, nights.
He knows
will
his
respond.
stuff. And they had a lot of cool things, like they had an open house monkey that like inflates, so that you put out in front that you could, they had a lot of different stuff to offer too that was pretty cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Open house
It
monkey.
has its own name, and I can't remember what it was, but you rent them, and they'll come sit open houses with you.
Yeah.
A lot of lenders will, whether or not it's beneficial is up to. Yeah.
That's just offering it if he does it. I mean.
And then they have a whole green screen too.
They have green screen too?
Yeah, or studio, and they'll let you come in and film different things and help you out.
Great. So that's what we like to hear, and that's what I would love to hear every time with any of our partners. I would love to hear reviews like that. And so Brett, you closed our first one with them, right?
Yeah.
And that was through Brett. So perfect. And as long as we have that feedback, I will gladly continue partnering with them. But to supplement that, we have another great lender who's proven himself repeatedly too, who they have offered to help contribute as well. And what's wonderful about both these guys is they're contributing to our advertising budget and actually bringing in leads for us. And so, and as of this month, between the two of them, it will be well over $1,000 per month they're contributing towards our advertising.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And so if they contribute, and we can keep great responses. This is wonderful. But Mike Beckham has, oh, let me actually go back here. Mike Beckham is a full-blown broker. He has access to everything we could possibly want. So even the cases like Academy can't do, because they're typically just a residential, pretty cookie cutter, you know, homes, fourplexes, things like that. Mike can do commercial. He can do
Non-traditional.
Indian investor, any
Anything.
non-traditional
Yeah,
stuff.
he can do anything, yeah.
On top of the other.
Yeah.
And what makes Mike incredible is, again, cell phone. He will answer your phone at any point in time.
And
even if
text.
he's on
He will
vacation.
text, yeah, he will text too.
And he could close like yesterday. If you ever have anything fall apart and have to close something in like less than 2 weeks, call Mike. He has proven himself, and I hate to rely on people for only bad situations, but if you ever have a bad one, he's the guy to call.
Well, but that turns it into good ones later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, and he's with a Lensmark Mortgage. I always forget the name. And so he's got great programs himself, but he has access to everything, which is wonderful. Yeah. Okay. So that being said, we will start off all of our meetings with a mortgage minute, mortgage updates. And so I'm going to go ahead and call Joe right now. And it's did you guys hear about you know, the interest rate and what they're predicting with the interest rates for the affordability and all that stuff going on right now?
No.
Heard this morning that Powell was predicting or hinting at 4 interest rate hikes.
Yeah.
For
This
this year?
year?
For this year.
Yeah, they said it
The
could
new-
raise the cost of
the
ownership
one
up to
that
15%.
replaced Janet Yellen.
Yeah.
Oh my
All the
God.
people that just sit on the sidelines and wait.
They're gonna be sorry.
Let's see. Answer Joe.
I had a guy that was bitching about how.
Hey, good. Talk about it. Quick notice, huh? Sorry about that.
No, no worries. I got Brett in my office right now as it is, so, is everybody all there? You wanted to get started on a mortgage minute, or?
Yep. Yeah, we're all sitting here. Yeah.
It's like, hi, Joe.
How y'all doing?
Good.
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 So,
I guess first off, is there any questions you guys have? Anything that's on the top of your mind in regards to financing that I can answer for you?
well, pretty much just I think what's in the news, because we keep hearing about rate hikes and cost of homes going up. I mean, cost of affordability going up significantly, et cetera.
Yeah, so the interest rates are definitely continuing to go up as investors are starting to step back from investing in mortgage bonds. We took a pretty big hit yesterday in pricing. We got about a 0.25% deterioration in pricing yesterday. I think, because we already got an 8 back on that, so I'm hoping that we get a little bit back by the end of the week. But as we go forward, it's going to continue to go this route. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to see, you know, interest rates in the 6s anytime soon or anything, but for the foreseeable future, they are going to continue to go up. So we just, again, always keep that in mind, because again, affordability is going to, you know, be a little bit more difficult for some of those buyers out there as far as buying power and what they can afford.
Comparing apples to apples, do you remember what it was like 2007, 2008? Wasn't it right around 5% at the same time?
Yeah, actually it was. Actually, I actually purchased a home back in 2005, and my interest rate was 6.125.
Okay.
Mine was
So
5.75.
when you compare it historically speaking, yeah, I mean we're great. You know, it's just everybody got used to those super low rates, and that's what people keep remembering. So a lot of people it's a shock when they hear where rates are right now when we're in the 4s. And, you know, that's still pretty darn good.
And then remind them of the 80s.
That decade.
cents.
What's the cost?
So the cost, it comes out to be about, it's like 1.825, I think it comes out to be as far as points. That's why we say if you can get 2 points from the seller, that would make it work.
So is that the max, or if you get 3 points from the seller?
Can you get it down to 0? Is that
Yeah, so
interesting?
I mean, it comes out, the fee comes out to be an exact dollar for dollar of the savings that they'll get over those 2 years. That's why it's only really, an advantage if we can get the seller to pay that fee.
Interesting.
And it actually works as an escrow account. So let's say if somebody does this, it opens a separate escrow account to where that's where the payment to offset their payment is coming from. If they refinance within that 2 years, they'll actually take whatever's remaining in that escrow from that buy down fee and apply it towards their principal, so it doesn't just go away.
Cool. Good to,
Cool.
yeah. Good to know.
So it's a cool program to let your buyers know about out there.
Sweet. All right. Any other good
All right.
info?
I think that's all I got for you right now. We're always trying to think of creative programs out there. I know they came out with another one. I don't want to speak too much to it because I need to get more details on it, but they call it the Asset Rich program, where they can actually use, people with large 401ks and investment accounts, they can actually use that as income. So that's another one I want to get more details on that.
It's been a while since we had an asset-based program.
Say that one more time, sorry.
I said it's been a while since there's been an asset-based program out there.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
been a missing component in the market for, since the downturn.
Right, and it's not something that we have to broker out either. This is something we can do in-house, and it's a normal 30-year fix. It's really cool.
And it's in effect now?
They just rolled it out, so I just need to get more details on it so I can speak, educatedly about it to you guys, and so we know exactly how to make it work.
Cool.
Great.
Cool. All right, and Brett, thanks again, because we got Teresa and Daryl here and continued great things said, so thank you very much. Love to hear it.
Thank you guys.
Alright.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye.
You too. Yeah, bye-bye.
Sweet, and they, the leads that they have gotten, Joe and Brett are following up with, and yesterday they pulled one out. Hate to say it, the agent it was assigned to was not following up, but they did. And they got a sale out of it, and they pre-qualified this person. They called me saying, hey, we got this person pre-qualified for $285, who do you want us to give it to? And it was, so
So
it's
they're
nice.
going into the Real Geek site to do that?
They have access to, and if you guys want, we could give them access to your leads too, or, it's to whatever extent. If you don't want them to have any access to any lender other than just you guys, we could set that up too, but if you want either one or whatever, we can set up, yeah. And any call, they log, text, it'll show up right in your system, and you'll know all their communications and everything, kinda neat. Cool. All right, we got a lot to continue going through, so let's keep moving. Market update. This has been a crazy market. How would you guys sum it up?
Low
That's a
inventory.
good word. but
Yes,
that one's fun.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's the inventory?
Exactly. All right, well, let's just go ahead and skip down to that portion. Here you go. New inventory. What's interesting about this is how they calculate it. Year over year, a decrease of 11%, even though we've had a monthly increase of 8%, which, if anybody knows the monthly increase, December, whoop, January, kind of February, whoop. So that's normal cyclical Arizona time. So this is pretty much, we're down 11%. That's crazy. And new inventory, 10,000, which is 2.2%, which is wonderful. I mean, it's a hair up. But what would you guys guess? And this is what's getting staggering, okay? Our average prices, to an extent, they make sense, right? Your average Arizonan can afford, how much home would you say? Realistically, your average Arizona makes what, 70,000 a year, 60,000 a year? How much home can they afford?
Maybe
Really?
220.
260? Yeah. I'd say mid 250s, 260s, that's about right, okay? So, what would you say the average listing is right now?
Taking everything, the whole market into consideration.
Yeah.
300?
Probably higher than that,
350.
yeah.
Yeah. I bet
Look
it's
at
higher
this,
than they
new
can
list,
afford, yeah.
look at this. I couldn't believe it, it passed 400.
Oh my God.
I couldn't,
Yeah.
you know, the discrepancy is getting further and further away as we're trying to drive the market up. It hasn't been, I haven't seen it over 400 ever, like in my career. Keep in mind, I started in 2007, 2008, right? And so I started here and then just watched the plume. So this is the highest new list price I have ever seen in Arizona. It's crazy. And look at that, the average, the true is here, and then your average sale is here.
The average sales price is what?
And
That's
what's
crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
The 402, what's the second number?
This is the actual median. This is
Price.
what we really need to pay attention to.
That's the median price?
This is, if you
Right.
took everything that is
Okay.
sold, this is the exact middle, as opposed to
Right.
keeping in the higher extremes,
That's
you know.
the list.
Yes,
Right.
that's what
Okay.
that is,
One's the
yeah.
average, one's the median.
Okay.
Yep, yeah, so the 245, realistically, you're comparing 275 to 245, which is still,
Can you scroll up again? What was the median last year? So it was 369 last year, John, at the same time.
Yeah.
Now
Oh, I
it's
see,
402.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
going from 250.
yeah, so the lighter color is last year.
Yeah.
The
Not
average
so.
list price last year.
369. Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a big drop.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're definitely trying to drive the market up, and so far, it's still there. I mean, albeit over $500,000, it's a whole different market, you know? It's completely different, and the higher you get,
And
it
even
gets
over
even more.
800,000, it
Yeah.
drops off again.
Yeah,
a
exactly.
little bit. There's
So,
There's a glut of inventory, especially
Yeah.
up in North Scottsdale, it's crazy.
Yeah.
yeah, that's where, I posted an article last night that mentioned about Scottsdale being one of the top investment places right now for multi-million-dollar homes, because of the inventory nationwide. It's ranked
It's a
one of the
buyer's
top.
market,
Yep. So,
totally. So if you wanna move out.
hey, our Tucson contingency is here.
Hello.
Hi.
And you thought you were my Sun Valley. Huh? So, this is, actually, since we finally have, this is,
A lot of people.
this is
That's
like,
great.
all right, if you don't mind, can we just quickly go around and introduce each other, since it's the first time we've actually sat down together, officially. I'm Josh, I'm the broker.
I'm John Denny, I'm not the broker, thank God.
I'm Julie Goldammer.
Daryl.
Teresa Pompey.
Kim, not licensed yet, but almost. Couple
Right.
Yay.
And I'm Charlotte, licensed agent.
Alright. Yep, that's part of what she's hoping to accomplish while she's up here, right? Is to tackle
Yep.
that, yeah. Awesome.
Want your fingerprint?
Yeah, that's done.
Oh, that'll
I
come
just
fast.
have to go drop off the application.
Yeah,
It's just a formality at this point.
Yeah.
We love
Yeah.
that, yes.
Yay.
So, any conclusions, any ideas we can basically come up with based off of this? It's good information, it's crazy, but what can we really extrapolate from it, in your opinion?
I'm just a little concerned because when you look at where the median person is and the people that are looking now, you know, how are they gonna be able to afford this? And so is there a possibility that we're being pushed again to another 2008, 2009, and 10?
I think we're being pushed towards it in some respects, whether or not that would repeat itself again.
Yeah.
I doubt, but here's the other thing that I see is that rental rates are getting way up there.
Yeah.
Of course, interest rates could begin to wipe some of that difference out,
Yeah.
but right now, it just seems like you can buy a house for, say, $1,200 a month, and the rent's gonna be $1,500. Typically.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, if you're not running those markets right now, it's cheaper to rent than, cheaper to buy than to rent, you're missing out on a whole market at the moment, yeah.
I would
So-
just add about like the bubble, John, I think we're not there yet, and I don't know that we'll ever get there, because all of our mortgage people could probably chime in if he was still on the phone.
Yeah.
When that all happened, that happened in combination with some very loosey-goosey mortgage and
Give you
lending.
loans to
True,
anybody.
Yeah,
true.
and so there was no oversight, ninja loans were everywhere, I mean, so.
In the 80/20s, no
Yeah.
down payments.
Yeah, and so you could pull money out, and it was just crazy, and you have people buying 5 houses, so I just don't see it getting to that stage at all.
And we're still Phoenix, which is the 5th largest city, we're still fairly affordable housing compared to most of those other cities. So even though
Actually,
the prices to us look, wow,
I
they're
s-
going up,
I
but.
saw an article the other day, I can't remember where I saw it, but Phoenix is now moving towards being one of the least affordable cities.
I wrote a whole thing about that, because
Yeah,
I
I saw
saw
your-
that, but I disagreed with that, because
No,
comparatively, yeah,
Okay, so
I
tell
saw
me
that
why-
same article.
Why'd you disagree with it?
Kind of, well, overall, if looking at the whole picture, okay, exactly what you were just mentioning, compared to California and New York, I don't know the full perspective they
Yeah.
were looking at, because our taxes, like our real estate taxes, are insane, like compared to New York.
Insane.
for
Oh,
example.
yeah.
The
Property
cost
tax,
of living in California, what is it? The average tax rate now in California is up to 60% overall. If you take your whole income, they're taking like 60% of your
Well,
income.
if you buy a property in California right now, when it sells, you're gonna pay, so you buy a $600,000 house, your taxes are gonna be about $6,600 a year.
Jeez.
That's based on the new sale, because that's where they're getting a lot of their,
And you,
they're looking for a lot of their
and
revenue.
a lot of those, I mean, again, we're lumping in Paradise Valley and Scottsdale, which aren't typically the norms with,
Yeah.
here's all the other suburbs,
Yeah.
which
Here-
skew prices like that.
Yeah.
So here's the problem I see, that 402 number up there is, does that number's being pushed up, and that, the other numbers that are jumping there, we are moving towards much less affordability than we have.
For
Yeah.
sure, for
It-
sure, but
it-
comparatively, I still feel like, I mean, I live in
Yeah.
Seattle and I'm like, I
Yeah, I
can't never
thought,
buy
I
a
thought it
house.
was
Right,
surprising,
I
I
can't
don't know where I
even-
saw the article,
Yeah.
but Josh obviously saw something similar. It said like we're the 6th least affordable in the country, I thought, well, that's.
Hey, but you gotta compare
Okay.
us to, are you comparing us to big cities, or are you comparing us to Podunk,
Like-
Idaho?
yeah, like-
I don't think so.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Five people live
That's
in,
not-
like, yeah, like.
Okay, so according to this, what would you say right now in the actual market, what percent are we seeing homes sell for list price to sale price?
98.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say at least
okay.
that.
So if we go off of this, the 315 to 402, that's 78%. Okay. Now let's take the other one, 245, and let's say that's at 275. That's 89% of list price or asking price.
69 versus 89?
It's over 11% difference. One was less than 80% of asking price, and this one's close to 90% of asking price.
The numbers there get a little bit skewed though, I
Yeah.
think, because it doesn't take into consideration where were they in relative average days on market either.
Yeah.
Some
Oh,
of those
that's
homes could
excellent.
be on market for forever, and I don't think they're just taking it based off the average or the ones that sold, so
Yeah.
I don't know, I think sometimes if you
Yeah.
torture numbers enough, they're gonna tell you
They're
where
Exactly.
you
gonna
want
make your
them to
story
say.
whatever you
Yeah.
want.
The takeaway is that it is getting less affordable.
So
And
Portland is gonna get more competitive.
I
Very
don't
much
see
against the
prices
market.
Very much
dropping
so.
just
Under
because interest rates are
I
going
four
agree.
up.
fifty is like
I agree.
it's a feeding frenzy right now, anything under 450. I've been to a couple of other little groups, and Tina comes from Crumford Report, and she speaks.
Yeah.
Love that.
And she's awesome, and I'm sure you've heard this too, but she said, what'll happen is price always lags 6 months behind whatever's been going on. So price is always an indicator of where we've
Trailing,
been. Yeah,
trailing.
it's a trailing indicator. So she said, well, probably potentially happen is, yeah, we could have a little bit of demand back off. So the demand has been so healthy, and there's no inventory, so that's driving the prices up. And if the demand backs off just a little bit, it will probably make a slight correction. Some of the prices, the curves that she's showing, depending on the zip codes that you go into, that curve's starting to kind of even out on the price. So I think we're gonna continue to maybe see that happen, especially in some of the areas like, where you said the prices kind of going up as much as it is.
Yeah.
There are spots, although Scottsdale has been kind of more stagnant. I wouldn't say it's like crazy.
Your buyer
It's getting
pool
more-
is less,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, it's, I don't think it's as crazy as some people think, just the prices are kind of maintaining.
This is what's just insane is, was it 2009, 2010, I was dealing over here in Surprise and Goodyear at $68 a square foot or so. And I looked at you guys in Scottsdale, I was like, $125 a square foot? My gosh, you're
200 now.
insane. Yeah, now you're at
Two-
$200. Surprises
Two
is what,
seventy-five.
They're, yeah, they're about.
Surprise is double.
Yeah,
Or
it's
close to it.
crazy,
Yeah.
yeah. But
So-
it's an exciting market, and my personal opinion is it's a much different situation. Numbers are comparable, but if you look at, for last year, 2017, over, what was it, 80% of homes were purchased using conventional loans, which means people were using actual down payments and things of that nature. It actually was over FHA loans. You have the fact that people aren't buying, what percentage of people back then were actually buying homes for the wrong reason? As in, my goal is not to live in this 5 years, my goal is to hopefully watch the
Make a
appreciation
quick
go up and
profit.
sell it ASAP.
30%.
See, and we don't have that. We have the flippers, we
Yes.
have the wholesalers, which they're messing up the market, I will say, because they're the unnecessary middleman, which are taking the profits from the actual investor's personal opinion, even though I have a wholesale website. That, we have those, but they're not taking out arms. They're not doing the ridiculous stuff, they're actually putting 20% down on the home to buy it and moving on. And so as long as we see those things, I think it's a much, much healthier market. While people look at their home as a home and an investment home as an investment home, it'll keep us from making really, really stupid mistakes as a whole.
I saw something happened with me recently, which it just hit me with what you're talking about. My son bought a little patio home for $130,000 at 30th and Thunderbird. And he's just been at GCU, working there for about, 6 or 8 months. And he had a pretty good job history. He had a lot of trouble buying that place. I mean, the lender had to jump through hoops. His credit was pretty good, all the circumstances were pretty good, but when I look back 10 years ago, in that same situation, it would have been a slam dunk to get him into that place. They'd have been throwing money at him.
Was it
to
because
buy
it was conventional and they just?
No, it was FHA.
Oh, never mind.
It was FHA, we couldn't get him conventional because of, he hadn't been in the job quite long enough for him to.
Because those are few and far between,
Yep.
usually, the FHAs. and
But it
that's-
was,
yeah.
it was very tough, and it makes me realize, when I think about it, the difference between now and 10 years ago. There's a
Yeah.
big difference.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Wins and losses. Since the beginning of the year, I can tell you, just to start off the brokerage, we've hired some great people. We've put some better systems into place, and we're hopefully always going to continue to improve, hopefully. And any suggestions, ideas, always much appreciated, always. So, we'll say we aren't quite at our goal that we need to be. We're actually at 10 closed so far, but we have, I need to update the board. Right now, we have 16 pending and active listings right now. We're pushing 4 million right now, pending and listed. So we're actually doing really good. By the end of March, we will have made up a huge ground on our. We should have closed close to 4 million at that point in time, and we have several new things going on. So 4 million. We need to do about 1.6, 1.8 to hit our goal for the entire year, minimum. So we're kind of there. Ideally, I'd like to see 4. If we could do 2, that would be great. But it's not bad. It's not where I'd like to see us. But we just got off to a slow start. If we continue what happened at the end of February and just duplicate that in March and April, we'll be more than back on track. It's going to be incredible. So. Any other wins?
Well,
I'm excited.
You're coming into the selling season too, which Julie had to remind me of yesterday with one listing I had, so.
Yeah.
Oh, it's after Super Bowl, it just seems to our market comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so is the board over there, so obviously L's listing, P is a buy, a purchase?
Pending.
Yes. Pending.
Pending, yep.
Pending listing, so you just put the listings up there?
Listing or pending. It's hard for me, and this is
What
where I need to
about
rely
when
on
you
you
represent
guys.
the buyers?
As the broker,
Yeah.
there's no way to keep track of buyer side transactions.
Huh.
They don't show up in the MLS. You can't pull them up.
Yeah.
So I need to rely on you guys to keep me updated, or every Thursday when I go into
Go ahead,
paperless,
pipeline,
I
yeah.
try to come in, but if I'm doing
Yeah,
paperwork
'cause I
from
have a
home, I
buy going
forget.
on right now.
So please,
Even though it's
Yeah.
even though it's UCV or pending,
what's that?
No, he can't
but
tell.
you can't.
Not on the buyer side. if it's our listing, I see
Until
it,
it
but it
closes,
doesn't
it doesn't
show up
log it.
exactly on our side as
Oh,
buyers. Yeah, so let us know, we'll gladly, I love keeping track of
Can you
the
run like a
board.
report out of MLS?
No, MLS, there's no way to track it. Believe you me, I've been
Oh,
on
that's
this
true.
a lot. Yep.
That's true, cause there's nothing attached to our name yet.
Right.
It's in there, but it's not closed,
Hidden.
it's nothing,
Will
yeah.
paperless tell you?
When you input it, but paperless is
Kind
I
of.
only go into paperless basically once a week on Thursdays to go through my paperwork and sign everything off and everything like that. So
Okay.
it's not the most up to date and accurate. And what I'm signing off on here today might not be factual in the addendum or anything like that. You know, as far as what I'm seeing, like because I look at the contracts and I make sure everything's signed properly, but I'm not nitpicking the numbers and keeping track of the spreadsheet while I'm doing it. I'm looking at to make sure
Why
you
not?
guys, you know, the forms are right. So please, call the office, put stuff on the board, like
Yeah.
the board, I
I
want
love
people
seeing
to
the
get
board.
hyped up.
I love
Exactly.
seeing
Well,
all
I'll
that
go
color
put one up on
yeah.
the board.
No, it's fun.
There's-
It's fun. Yeah.
I'm afraid though
Yeah.
that jinxes it.
I like that too,
No,
I
it's a
write it
good thing.
myself and just.
I always wait, actually
Where was I
in the
at?
middle
Was
of
I
the
number 4 up
appraisal
there?
right
That's
now.
how
That's
that's
the
being
most
raised.
like,
That's a
yeah,
good
that's
thing.
right.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
a good
last,
thing.
it was awesome when we, what was it, July or August? July, we closed,
Tons.
we had 11 or 12 closed that month. And it was just awesome. It was like every week we were coming in with like 3 or 4 that we were putting new stuff on the board, doing closings here, and it was just one of the coolest things. And when you start seeing
So
activity.
you just want us to call like Tatiana and say, hey, can you put this buy side up on the board?
Yeah, or
Okay.
anybody that's here, absolutely.
You can put it up there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
No, I just am gonna jinx myself on
No,
that.
don't say that. No,
All right.
don't say that. Be
I
positive.
believe, I will, yeah.
Any,
You can put that-
any other, you know, I don't wanna call them losses,
Yeah,
but any
right.
learning situations that we've come across, anything, any stories about stuff? No.
No deal's done until it's done.
That's
Right.
right.
That's a God's honest
I learned
truth.
that again
Not
last
until
week.
you get a signature on the
Doesn't matter,
contract.
not until it
Renters are
closes.
flakes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can tell you
Unfortunately,
stories.
but yeah, I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna add
So
some
I've had numerous
All right, cool.
situations where
so
people
which-
like,
any
yeah,
color?
oh
Any
no,
color
wait
you
a
want,
month,
make it
wait 6
yours.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped getting excited about that. I'm just going through the motions now.
While she's putting that on the board, Julie was kind enough to make an updated commission form sheet for us for title that helps us out. And we have that and we have the transaction cover sheet. Between the two, it's gonna make title, our office, it'll require about 5 minutes of inconvenience for you to fill out the form.
Yeah.
But from that moment on, it really makes everybody's life a lot easier. It's in the Google Drive under Google Docs. If you can, just add it to your zip form templates or whatever it is. If you can add that and just take that couple extra minutes, it just pulls out everything from the price to the parties to escrow and makes
Contacts, everything.
entitled to said that if they have that form, it makes their life a lot
And you
better.
said that's in Google Drive?
It's in the Google Drive, yep, it's the transaction cover sheet.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I meant
I
to
have
have
it
print
as-
off one here for everybody.
225, is Mohawk up there?
No.
It's a new listing.
Cool.
When is the lot supposed to close?
Well, as early as the 5th, though I don't know if that's gonna actually happen. When you were talking about the sheet for title, does it have a place on there
Julie,
to
do
pay
they have yellow up there too?
Uh,
You sure you don't want to use yellow?
referral fees?
You know, like orange.
Split or any other thing on there.
Or just any other thing, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad
As
it
Julie
didn't
had
have
mentioned,
yellow?
there's a space on there for
It's bright and
contributions
happy, it just
to
needs to be a little bit darker.
buyer seller,
Right.
but they just,
I hope we had pretty much everything.
as long as
Here's
there's a
a-
space on there.
Here's
so
a
I've got
copy
one of
of
those
it,
coming
John.
up.
Oh, you got one?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's got the top and the back there.
Oh, this
too.
transaction
read
sheet,
it.
okay, that's fine, yeah.
John, what's your other one, Mohawk? What's the address? You remember?
18,
Oh, you're talking about the commission.
oh no, 846,
So, yeah, here's the
West
transaction
Mohawk.
cover sheet. The commission form has.
299.5. It does, okay.
So, but this has basically the buyer, the seller, the owner, if it's, well, owner, seller information, agent, buyer's agent, escrow company, lender company, and then up top, just the details, like if there's a warranty or not, if there's concessions or not, what's the split. So it just makes it, right there, quick and easy.
Yeah.
Okay?
John, when's the close on this one?
On what, that's a listing. on
Oh,
the lot.
listing, sorry. Oh, that's your new one. Sorry.
Cool. Last little tidbit before we dive into the actual content. Any questions as far as plans or fees, ISA, contract coordinator, anything like that?
So I have a question on the ISA.
Oh, Dad, are you there? Can you mute your phone or something like that? Somebody's got some.
Is he at the car place?
Yeah.
Oh, did he just go? Oh, where are you supposed to go? I don't know what happened. Okay, we'll see. All right. So sorry.
So I have a question on the ISA. So typically, if we have leads in Real Geeks, right, that's where we say, how do we let the ISA know? What's the process to say, hey, we want you to follow up with this? Like say I just get some leads off of an open house, and I have 15 of them. That's not coming from Real Geeks, so I have to somehow input them in the system. Do I have to put them into Real Geeks by hand, or how do I get them to the ISA, or how would you like them to go to the ISA?
That's okay. The
This is
relationships
Judy
with
process.
with the relationships with the ISA, it can be to whatever extent you want it to be. Okay,
Right.
so Roy, just classify him as just an agent here, basically. Okay, so he, well, not fully licensed agent, but he's very knowledgeable. Let's just say that he worked with one of the top teams in Texas and was great. He did all their circle prospecting, contract coordinating, and he did all their follow-ups basically. And so if you get a bunch of leads at an open house, easiest way is just to send him that list, and then he will then, because he uses Mojo Dialer, and we got the single, double, triple, and we've been comparing the ratios of contacts. The single line is giving us almost 3 times the percent of contacts compared to the triple line dialer. So it's like, do you make 300 calls and 2%, or do you make 100 calls and get like 6 or 7% contacts? It's kind of cost of time. We're sampling to see which one's best, but he will use whatever method you want.
Okay.
Follow up with you. Right now, he's generically using our follow-up method, which is basically using 80% of contact is made after by the 6th try, and then 80% of sales are after 12 contacts. So he's kind of operating off of that timeline and making sure that the first week they get 3 or 4 calls, and then once he makes contact, he just kind of uses his follow-up systems accordingly.
Okay.
So
So is he in our team emails? Is he one of them? Because I don't think I've seen his name
I don't
in
think
there,
I have
and
him
his
there.
contact.
He's Roy at Brevum.com.
Okay.
So Roy,
He's from the Philippines.
yep.
Okay.
Salamat.
He's good. He actually, you would never know when talking about him, where he was from. It's kind of interesting. But
Not
he's.
true. I can tell.
You have a little more info and a little more.
Fair housing
information
violation.
My wife, Miss Disa, she's half Filipino.
So you're allowed.
Yeah, they actually
I hear
not
how
too
they
far.
speak because
Yeah.
her mom is from the Philippines, so it's the P's.
So what's his last name? I'll just put it in
Alinas.
my phone.
Yeah.
Roy,
Yep. Let me go ahead.
A,
Linas. And he calls from a 928 phone number.
Yeah, there are officially no local phone numbers. If you try to get like a Google or a Skype number,
He
the
calls from a
closest
what?
is 928.
928 Flagstaff.
oh,
That's the closest phone number that we can get. You can't get a 602, 623, or 480. They're all taken. If you want to use like the generic ones, yeah, I got as close as we could. It was either that or Globe Miami, and I thought that the 928 was better than coming from Globe Miami.
True, because that would make more sense.
Just saying. So
he's Roy at,
yeah, and just to make our life easier, everybody here, you have breakthroughrealestateaz.com, but the easiest one is brepm.com. Just your first name at that. Roy@brumble.com. And I'm trying to, well, let me just do it this way.
I have his phone number.
Yeah,
If you
what is
could,
it?
that was what I was gonna pull up, yeah.
Yep.
Let me just leave it off. That number is 928
So are you of age?
714
How'd you guess?
7093.
What do you think of this basketball stuff going on?
928-714-7093.
It's bound that somebody's gonna get caught, I
Yeah,
guess.
7093.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So we kind of started talking about this last week, and I wanted to elaborate a little more now that we have a little more minds in the process. Generating business and bringing people to your open house. And we have a lot of great contacts that we can utilize. So, in my opinion as a broker, and just experience in general, there's never a bad open house, right? If you're going to be sitting in your office making phone calls, go hold it open, throw out a couple signs, and make a calls from there. It's a storefront. You have a chance of people walking through the door at least, you know? On the other hand, you have your mega open house where you plan for 2 weeks, invite everybody, and do it up, and it can be huge as well. And there's no bad open house, okay? But what are the cool things that we can do to attract more attention in our ads for it, emails, letting people know what we can do? And so we have, I loved your themes that you were doing for your garage sales and all that stuff, like just holding events, okay? There's open houses, but then there's events, which don't necessarily even have to be an open house, but it still gets your name and word out at the same time. And over the last month, I've been hearing a lot about doing events and how if you do one good event, you can get 6, 7, up to 10 plus valuable leads and listings from it. And so brainstorming here because I loved your idea. Last week we had some really good ones, so if you don't mind, would you share some of your stuff?
Sure. So, do you want me to repeat the January
Go
garage
for it.
sale? Okay,
Yeah, garage
so,
sale, ice cream company.
We normally work by referral, but I decided I needed to build up some more of my database. So my neighborhood is only 100 homes, and it's really small and compact as far as it's not like miles and miles that you have to walk. But did a garage sale, a neighborhood garage sale, and it was pretty simple. I started out by sending out a postcard. I just pulled all of the names of my neighbors from Monsoon and put out the postcard. It cost about $100 because it's 100 names, so just figure $1 per card. And I was doing it directly to people specifically, either the owners if I knew they lived in the neighborhood or renters. I just said current residents because some cases I didn't know who they were. I didn't want to just do everybody, you know, customer or postal customer, so I didn't do EDDM on purpose because I wanted their names on there. And then I signed it from your neighbor, Julie, and I put my broker information at the bottom with Julie Goldammer, Realtor, after it, so at least there was some subtlety. Because all I said is, hey neighbors, let's have a garage sale. And then I put up signs at our mailboxes about a week later. So from the postcard, literally within the first day, I got, out of the 100, I probably got 4 signups right away from the postcard. I've got 2 more from the signs at the mailbox. And then I went on nextdoor.com because we have a neighborhood next door. Most of us, I think, are using it now. And I got another couple people there. And then, so they all signed up, and I said, if you sign up and RSVP with me, I'll bring by. And I went and did pop-bys then to their houses because, of course, these people weren't people I knew to add to the list. And I brought them all cool little official open house aprons, just like a little tool belt I got for $1.98 online, like 12 of them, and in a blue color. And I gave them pricing stickers. I gave them some short little water bottles and a little like a goodie bag. And my son printed up a map with everybody's home on it. So I handed those out, introduced myself, and they're like, oh my God, this is awesome. So that they didn't know was coming. That was like a surprise. And then I went around the day of, and I had some extra aprons, because you always get the pirates who put their stuff out on the driveway because they're like, oh, I didn't sign up, but who cares, right? Oh, and I promised them I'd do signage. So I took out all open house signs that we have, and I changed them up and I put some paper on the outside and said sale, pointing them everywhere, and drove tons and tons of traffic into the neighborhood. Everybody's like, oh my God, this is awesome, so much traffic. Everybody did really, really well. They were handing out the maps to each other, and then the people that didn't, I went around and introduced myself and handed out the apron and said, so the next time we do one, everybody said, oh my gosh, we should do another one in October. So I'm just trying to become sort of the neighborhood expert, and now I'm gonna do in April, City of Scottsdale loans out curb painting kits.
Really?
All you have to do is provide the paint. And so I'm gonna have them loan, you check it out kinda like a library system and you bring it back. And so I'm gonna do another event in the neighborhood for curb painting so we can all be safe and all the vehicles can find us, cause our curbs are all kinda trashed. And I've got that sort of situated right now. I'm planning to do my send-outs for April 12th. So that'll be my kind of, I wanna do one per quarter in that neighborhood. So those are just targeted at, not at my client base, cause that we're gonna do other things, but, those are events for,
Geographical.
yeah.
Yeah,
for-
yeah, on the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Don't give your neighborhood a choice but to know who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What, so, on the aprons, is it specific to you, or what was the?
No, we didn't, brand them. I suppose I probably could have. It would have been cool to do like a transfer or something on there or have them embroidered, but they were just online. I forget the website that I use. Oh no, it's called, webrestaurantstore.com. It's like a little, almost like a little half apron that like wait staff uses.
Yeah.
But it's got all those pockets.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, so I sent out little like emails, and then I did thank you cards to everybody. I dropped off, I went around and said, hey, how's it going? So they knew me again, and then I went back later and I hand wrote thank you cards to everybody and hoped that it went well. And one guy even said, I looked so official, thank you for my apron. And I was like, yeah, so, because you know, you're always deciding like where you're gonna put the money, and people just kind of throw it in a box somewhere. This way then, when they're running around.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and they were just, if you got 12 of them, they were $1.70 something plus tax. It was under $2 shipped to my door. And it came in like 2 days, and yeah, they were all different colors, so I just think blue or orange typically, because those are kind of our logo colors.
Yeah.
So I thought blue was better.
Oh, speaking of logo colors, please leave some cards for you. We don't have any at our front, at our counter for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Yes, please, everybody. Yeah, we need as many of your cards as possible.
Do you have some? There were some cards that you were-
So, that was great. Share a little bit. Do you mind sharing a little about your ice cream stuff? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was a year ago or so. Anyways, we did a mega open house, I would call it a mega open. John went around early that day and put out as much signage. Well, first of all, we started out by doing a postcard. We sent out a postcard in a circle, again, pulling out of Monsoon. We sent out open house to 350 in around the houses closest around, and said, hey, ice cream social open house, that's what we called it. And then we put the times and come and check out this great new, it was a rehab home that John had done with one of his investor clients. And that neighborhood is awesome for this, so we figured it was the first weekend in April, it was pretty warm out already, so ice cream everybody loves. And we said there's gonna be an ice cream truck there, so we put it on the postcard big and bright. And then that day, John put out open house signs everywhere, and we had a rider at the top that had the times. So we put them out early, at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, but the open house wasn't until the afternoon. And then we literally had people waiting for it when I got there. And we did the ice cream theme. John got this gal to come and drive her truck out, and then we just kind of promised her a certain amount. We said, we're gonna be there for two hours. You know, she said, okay, it would be this much, approximately this
$75, I
much.
think,
Yeah, it was
something
like
like
easy, $75 for 2 hours. It was like $3 or $4 per ice cream bar piece that she had. She brought all different kinds of cool flavors, and we had tickets. And so the deal was, come by the open house, they had to sign in, and then we gave them tickets for them, like if it was 2 of them, depends. A lot of them said, well, she wants one, I don't, whatever. So they had to sign in with us to get a ticket, and then they brought the ticket out to the ice cream truck outside, and it was parked at the end of the driveway. And we were also giving away like a reverse pop by, so we had little goodie bags that I had put an ice cream scoop that I got for like all different bright colors, from Walmart, and they were like 80-some cents each. And we put a little sticker on there that said, you know, we're the realtors that have the scoop on the market, and then John and my business card on there. And if they were a buyer, we had like a buyer packet, like how to, you know, what things to do, how does the buy process work, just some takeaways that they could take. And a seller packet, we could show them how we market their home. So we were giving people away ice cream scoops. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah, so.
Awesome. Heard a couple other great stories this week. Some people put together a monthly, like a party type thing, right? Whether it's a game night or a actual party with, you know, adults, and then next month throw like a family party or whatever, and have like a bouncy house or something like that. But I thought it was really interesting how after the adult party, the next month they do a yoga party to offset the two. And it was
yin and yang.
and it was so funny because they actually said that they get a great showing to the adult party, obviously, because they're providing alcohol and everything. But they said they still managed to get, and I think it's like, and they always plan them to coincide, so I don't think it's the next month. I think it might be a day or two after for the yoga party. But they get like 15 or 16 people, and they actually hold it at their office. So they just move a bunch of tables and people show up, you know, and they know you're going to be dressed and we're going to get sweaty and stuff, and they actually hold it at their office. And they have like 15, 16 people show up, and they actually said that the party gets lots of stuff, but they've gotten more business from the yoga people that show up and take advantage of that. And I was like, that's so cool, like let's take care of both sides. It's like, let's have some fun, but now let's get healthy together. You know?
Well, you know, last week in, what do you call it, Breakthrough by Design with Tom Ferry was the mega open house, but one of the things that Daryl and I did with one of our big open houses is that we took advantage of our partners, and we had our partners there so that there was actually, like Mary Pierce from Old Republic, so if
Yeah.
anybody had questions about the changes with home warranty, one of the guys from one of our lenders showed up, and so it was great to have questions. But we had other partners give us like gift baskets. And so again, an incentive to get like their name and contact information was give us that information because we're doing a drawing, and to make sure you get, you know, like, because there were gift cards, a couple gift baskets, and so it helps to have even stuff like that.
Yeah, well, especially if they're going to bring big blow-up things. That's, you know, attention grabbers. Bouncy houses are very popular. We've got ice cream, we've got connections for people there. We have my connection with Big Cousin's Barbecue. I mean, some of the best smoked anything. He prides himself on. I mean, good food, and he'll come to wherever you want. We have a connection for movie night, where they bring the big screen, just show up to any park or whatever, and they have the popcorn machine, and they wheel it around and give everybody popcorn and stuff. It's really, really affordable.
That sounds like fun.
Lots of ideas. So we all know people, and if we really get creative, we can come up with some unique opportunities that, you know, other people aren't going to have, and that's what makes it exciting, and that's, you know, that's what brings the turnouts. I am going to kind of utilize both of the two, and I need help planning it in the long run, because I would love to bring in as many sponsors and have contributions, because Breakthrough, I'd love to do it, but it's going to be tough for us at this point to be able to provide it for everybody. But I would really like to do every August, September, first is when it's not 100 degrees, ideally about 80, 85 or so, to do a true client appreciation for all of our people, for all of our agents, and just, you know, you guys invite all of your people that you think, you know, and I want to do something nice, and I'd like to have it at a park and do like a family movie night with popcorn and have the barbecue there, and I'd like to do something like that every year for our clients, and have it at about the same time so we can almost plan on it, you know, and talk about it, you know, throughout the year. And that's something I'd like to put in the works. And if we can manage to do it this year, that would be great.
Cool.
So, any other ideas as far as cool open houses, cool attention grabbers, events, parties? I know that there is a group that does focus on realtors and doing social events for realtors. Like you invite all your clients to some bar, some restaurant, and they actually hold events for you.
Julie and I have done a wine tasting, well, just, it wasn't wine tasting or
Yeah.
just a kind of like happy hour. We did a
Yeah.
happy hour once. I've done several client appreciation parties over the years, and they've always been good. I've kind of slacked off because of not being here as much as I'd like to, which is gonna change. So, and we've talked about
Yeah,
doing
you had a nice
another.
Christmas one a couple years ago, and we
Yeah.
talked about doing a Star Wars day, cause it's right
Sweet.
before, although it'll depend on our venue.
It depends on
If
what
it
it's
doesn't
leased,
get
yeah.
rented,
The
cause,
fourth be with you?
yeah, May the fourth.
Instead of, yeah, May
Yeah.
the fourth for.
It's a Friday
Yeah.
night, so we're
Yeah.
kind of working towards like a joint, for our clients, like a client appreciation, sort of have, maybe a little bit bigger than appetizers, like food and drinks, and just bring everybody over, and we
Maybe
sometimes.
bring a food truck in.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, he is a great rental house that just got finished, and as long as it's not rented out that weekend, we might
Very
do
cool.
that. I did a pie party for Thanksgiving, that was very well received. It's, you know, you just, again, when you go to your clients, I find it's better to send them like a little video or send them an email ahead of time and let them know that it's coming, and then have them RSVP with a pie. They got to pick a pie. A lot of people do that around Thanksgiving.
Neat.
It was a lot of work, but
Yeah.
it definitely paid off. There's people that come out from that, and they, you know, wanna give you referrals right away.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've done some good stuff.
One of the best ones I did, which we have not done for years, or for a number of years, is a gratitude gathering around Halloween, around that same time. And the kids would come in costumes. We had some games for the kids. This didn't cost us a lot of money. My wife did most of the food. We had some friends help with a few things and beverages. And, you know, it's a great community building situation. So we invited friends and my A-plus clients. So it was a good way to reward my A-plus clients. It was a good way to remind my friends that I was in the real estate business. So,
Did you have it at your house, John?
we
or
did,
where?
yeah, we just had
Okay.
that, we did that for about 3 or 4 years in a row, we had it at our house. I still see people that show me pictures of their kids from that party, because we
Oh
had,
my gosh.
we had a friend who was, I guess it was my sister-in-law, who was something of a photographer, take picture of all the kids, so.
That's neat.
Yeah.
It's a
And
great
that
idea.
didn't
That's a
cost
really
much
good
money,
idea.
that's.
Halloween alternatives, people like it. That's,
And let me say, if you're not been in the business long, I think it's a great way to remind people that you're in the business and you're serious about it.
yeah. All right, let's go ahead and keep moving. I love the contribution you guys, thank you. So Julie was kind enough to let us know that there is officially a generic tech helpline. And it's not specifically for real estate, believe it or not. I mean, obviously we're realtors and it's for us realtors, but the number right up here, wrote it down to 866-232-1791. They're open, was it Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. They are closed Sunday, but look at this. Look at everything they will help you out with. Computer repair, laptop repair, PC repair, smartphones, tablets, virus removal, virus protection, email help, internet problems, software applications, hardware problems, printer, you name it, they are generic tech help. For many of us agents, we are not the most tech savvy people, or we just don't, in my case, I just don't like technology in general, with those things. But then we have a lot of second, third career. Your average agent is 56 years old when they get in the business. I think it's either 54 or 56 off the top of my head. So this is very useful for a lot of agents in general. So, you know, a lot of people randomly might need help. So please keep this number handy, share it with the rest of the agents. We could really benefit from having an IT department, and we kind of now do.
And it's free. It's
Yeah.
part of your AAR. Well,
Where's
we
the
pay
number?
for our AAR benefits,
It's
but
right
it's
up here.
Oh, okay.
And it's right up here. Yeah, it's AAR benefit. We need, thank God again for Julie. She's kind of keeping us updated because she remembers things like these. This is awesome. So yeah, there's a lot of AAR benefits we may or may not be aware of that we have.
Yeah.
So let's
And
take advantage.
they actually started it last year, I think, and then it was on like a beta, like a test.
Yeah.
And if not enough agents use it, they will probably try to take it away, so please use it.
Oh,
Because
wow.
trust me, I've had a virus problem and I had no idea what to do, and I called them up and they were awesome. And they got rid of whatever it was on my machine, and I would have been down, cause I could not get something to come through on e-sign, and it turned out it was a virus on my machine.
Ooh,
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Got some interesting information moving forward, so check this out.
And their pitch was Keller Williams buyers are not going to need to pay lender fees, plus they receive an extra $1,000 closing credit. Typical lender fees are 1 to 2% on $300,000 loans, and that's $3,000 to $6,000 after another $1,000 credit. That brings a total to $7,000 in savings if you use Keller Mortgage as opposed to any other loan officer. And the interest rate is going to stay really low, okay, which is great. So buyers can use the savings to qualify for a higher loan amount, increase their down payment, improve their offer price, offset repairs, buy new furniture, pay moving expenses. Buyers can skip lender fees only because they are working with Keller agents now. You become the Keller agent, the hero to this consumer. That means you're going to get more referrals. Referrals is really the name of the game, isn't this?
Yeah.
Referrals is the name of the game. Now, there's a couple of things I want to point out here. The first one is real estate agents, Keller agents, interest rates are on a teeter-totter. This is how interest rates work. Not necessarily at a loan level right now with your loan officers, but at a company level, okay? So what I mean by a teeter-totter, when your rate goes down, your fees go up. When your fees go down, your rate goes up. Because last time I checked, Frank, nobody is working for nothing. What is that free lunch thing?
Nobody gets a free lunch, baby.
Yeah, nobody's getting a free lunch.
That's right.
So, we have to understand one of two things is going on here, guys. Either we have loan officers who are going to be working for less or nothing,
Right.
or there might be a pad in the rate. What do you think, Frank?
I don't know. I mean, so Keller's launching their own mortgage company. They're doing this on the big splash, big national level. They're saying that they're going to be able to deliver mortgage rates at lower pricing than they're getting anywhere else with no fees.
Massive savings.
And that's if they come through a Keller Williams agent.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the deal. The only thing I can think of is if they are going to be hiring loan originators to help them, they're going to have to hire them on like just administrative type of pay or something like that. They're not going to be, you know, they can't be paid commission. I mean, there's no money in the game. They're clearly saying there's no money in this. So how could they pay an originator? I don't see how that can happen unless they're going to pay the originator like, you know, hey,
Well,
you're going to get $10 an hour or $12 an hour.
I just got
this
this stuff before we get into this.
Yeah.
I got the answer.
What?
Okay, so, and by the way, Keller Williams is doing heavy recruiting right now across the country. I've been approached by a number of loan officers. Here's how their tiered base compensation works.
Oh.
For up to, I have it, for up to $1 million in production, they get a half a basis point.
Okay. Okay. For $1 million in production, they get a half a basis point.
Yep.
Okay, and forgive me, a basis point is what? A quarter of a percent or something like that?
So a half of a quarter?
A quarter of a percent, yes.
I thought a basis point was 1%.
I thought when it dealt with those, a basis
A
point
basis point, I thought was a quarter.
is a quarter of a
That's what
percent.
I
I
thought.
thought when dealing with loans, that's what I thought it was.
Does
I
it
originally thought it was a
clarify or no?
percent.
But I defer to John, he's senior. So.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, it's either 1% or a quarter of a percent, but either way, that's,
let's see what, because even if it's one, it's only $5,000 on $1 million loan. And I got news, most lenders are making more than $5,000 on
Yeah.
$1 million loan. A basis point, 1/100 of 1%.
100 of
But that's where they're using the term incorrectly.
Yeah.
Because that would be like $50.
yeah, they wouldn't get,
So
yeah.
something's wrong with the way they're using the
For $1
terms.
million,
Yeah. So either way, we
They're not
know it's a
getting
very small amount is what we're bringing to. That's
Here's what the official definition is. A basis point refers to a common unit of measure for interest rates or other percentages in financing. One basis point equals 1/100 of 1%.
okay. So there, you definitely using it wrong.
Or 0.01%. But nobody's working for $50. That's,
Yeah.
I mean,
or 100.
maybe
yeah.
that's why they're.
$2 million, they get 0.65. From 2 to 3, they get 0.75. And $3 million in production, they get 0.9%. Okay, so here's what's happening, guys. All right, here's what's happening. Keller Williams is, they believe that the Keller brand and the ability to give bulk volume leads to these loan officers is going to entice them away from a pay structure which is about a third of what they would otherwise get. Okay? So what they're doing is they're saying, we're looking for discount loan officers. That's what this is all about. Now, how do you real estate agents, how do you feel about cutting your fees? Just out of curiosity. These are your real estate partners in arms, your loan officers. Keller Williams is asking them to work for a third of what they would otherwise get because they're going to be presumably providing all these wonderful leads, but they're going to work for a third. How do you feel about discount bulk brokers, real estate agents? You know, you don't want to bend on your 6%, right? You sure as heck don't want to do that. And there is somebody who's working down the street who's undercutting you, and he's doing this thing for 1% and putting it on your MLS. How do all you agents feel about him? Let me ask you this. Do you even show their homes? You hate that notion, and yet this is precisely what Keller is asking loan officers to do. And they're going to get some, but the loan officers that they're going to get are not going to be the ones who are providing the value that we're talking about. The best loan officers I know in this country, and I know a whole bunch of them, they provide value, they generate leads, they filter, they scrub, they drip, and they hand off to real estate agents. So, is a real estate agent going to be losing a trusted referral source because the Keller brand is going to somehow create more referrals for those real estate agents?
I would say probably, yeah. And I'm real curious to hear what the Keller agents feel about this, because I know a lot of times mortgage companies, or I'm sorry, real estate companies come out with their mortgage endeavors, right? It doesn't always fly with the real estate, with the agents that work under the same umbrella. You know what I mean? It doesn't really fly. But interesting point though, on that pay scale, it's crazy because you're actually asking an originator to come in.
Yes.
And work 3 times as hard.
Yes.
Okay. To get the same pay, probably actually still get less pay than you can normally get working somewhere else.
Okay, so that's enough of that one there. Who knew Keller Williams was coming out with their own mortgage company? Good to know. I hope they're right.
So I wonder how many seasoned Keller agents are going to jump from their devoted lending officers to this new company. I'll bet you it's not a huge number.
And typically people who are willing to work for that are the greatest. So you want to use the guys that you can
So
have.
are you going to let that cost you deals?
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I guess every year at the big Keller Williams meeting when Gary comes out and does this whole forecast and talks about this is what he talked about, and he sold it. He sold it big time, and I guess it's going to be they're putting a lot into this investment, I guess you could say, and we need to know how to combat it, because Keller Williams, they're not a bad brokerage, but anybody who's worked on the other side of a Keller Williams agent knows how they do things, right? How often when you're dealing with a Keller Williams agent on the other side, have you had multiple offer situations or getting counters back on a multiple counter, even if there may or may not actually be a multiple counter? Keller Williams has their methods of doing a lot of things. So if you have a person, one of your leads now that even mentions it or has Keller Williams, or what's our opinion? Because, in general, what do you think? Do you think it's going to fly?
No, I work at Breakthrough for a reason. I think the more you get into these large conglomerates, the less personal it becomes. I mean, go them. I'm not saying that they can't go ahead and do it, but I agree with John's comments. I think, and Teresa said it too, you're going to have people that, the people that can't generate their own leads are going to go towards some sort of pay plan like that. Okay, because I wasn't really successful before anyways, and they're probably not the ones that are going to be texting in the weekends back to the agents.
Right.
They're not going to give the top service.
And sometimes they're not even local. Like you never know where half those
Right.
people bring me Wells Fargo and they're out of Minnesota and like
Yeah, it's brutal. And like John said, you've got these relationships and people probably referring you people. You're not just going to jump ship and abandon potentially a years-long career. Now, for newbies, maybe that will work well because it's like, okay, I can start with something, but sadly, I think they're not going to get the best in the business doing this. I will tell you, I was out at this other meeting with, you probably go to it, it sounds like we're Tina does one, it's called Trusted Advisor University, and one of the lenders there brought this up, and he was very snarky about it and said, I was approached already to go on board, and let me just tell you, and he brought up the Keller mortgage thing, and he said, let me just tell you, they're asking us, because they wanna be extending this no fee thing, to come on board, and I would basically make 1/3 of what I am currently making. He says, as far as I could tell you guys, no thank you. I want nothing to do with it. He's a pretty good guy.
When you say 1/3 on the transaction with Keller Williams?
Make
No,
a third as much
a third
as
as much
he's
as he
making now
would
for the
make, yeah.
same number of transactions.
He would basically start making 30% of what he's been making before to go work for
Same
them.
amount.
And he says, I don't know how they're gonna get any quality people to work for them, and this was straight from another
You
mortgage
didn't
lender.
know it.
Here's
Yeah.
another problem
Yeah.
I see. Keller Williams has a lot of big teams, right?
Oh, yeah.
I guess maybe half of their business is half big teams.
They're
If
modeling.
I run a big team and you throw this at me, and I gotta give this to my buyers' agents, they're gonna come back and say, I'm not getting the quality that I need. And you're not gonna get great lenders, you're not gonna get great loan officers. It's hurting their teams in the end. It'll take time for this to all come to
And we all know
pass.
a lender can make or break any deal.
Absolutely.
We're all,
And they can make your life miserable, or they can make your life a whole lot easier, right?
I cringe when I see Wells Fargo. That's
oh, when I
Me
get
too.
pre-quals, I warn my sellers, and I'm like, you really need, could be a high risk. Like,
That's right.
I've had
Yeah,
this.
the only time I've had things fall out for no reason.
So this
Yep.
could
For no
come to
reason.
be the same thing with Keller Williams.
You see that pre-qual, and you're like,
You're gonna go, it's a Keller Williams deal. I think I'd be, just hearing about it today, this is the first time I've heard about it, I'd be hesitant if I got an offer today from a
no, if they were
Keller
paying them
Williams.
a decent amount, then there's a whole different ballgame, but when you start
How come
knocking their
it's
pay
not Keller
down.
Williams mortgage.
Yeah.
Why is it just Gary Keller? That's interesting.
That's true.
Interesting.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
It
Just
was
Keller.
Keller, it was just Keller.
Yeah, good eye. I didn't catch
Anyway, I
that.
don't think it affects us to any great extent, that you can maybe, because your clients are working with you, I don't think they're likely going to even hear about it. And if they do, I think you tell them about the teeter-totter. That was a great explanation of it.
Yeah.
You know, oh yeah, your fees are gonna go way down, but your rates
They're
are
gonna
gonna
they're
go
gonna
up.
recoup
And
that
your
money
hassle
somehow.
in dealing with this person is probably gonna be
Or-
astronomical.
Direct
Yeah.
correlation,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think that is a good, the only thing that might happen is if you have a listing and you're approached by a Keller Williams buyer's agent with that buyer using that mortgage, it's like Wells Fargo, it's
Yeah,
like,
you
wow.
have, because you have to let your seller know, like, this is a potential risk.
Yeah.
But it has to be their choice.
Cool.
You may have to just deal
You
with
just
it.
have to warn them
Yeah,
if.
Right.
Yeah, we've
Right.
dealt with plenty of the
I-
Wells Fargo's deals over the years.
I've resorted to giving very specific talking points to every person who's gonna call another lender. I said, make sure you ask this question, this question, this question, and this question, and then make sure you compare it back to my guy. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay? Know your info. Okay, so, that was big information purely because, Keller Williams is huge. What are they, the third biggest brokerage in America right now, or something like that?
Probably.
Huge. So I'm thinking now they're lumping themselves. I used to like USA, and so they started lying to
So
people
why
and
doesn't
making
RE/MAX
people.
have the same program?
You
You
know,
gotta ask
yeah.
yourself that question. I mean, RE/MAX been around a lot longer than Keller Williams has been around.
It's just a conflict, and it raises questions, and
Once
it's lumping us.
once
in the
brokerages
same-
start mingling with that's when, I remember that's when 2000, all that craziness, there's so many interminglings in it.
Class action lawsuit,
Yeah.
to you?
Yeah.
I mean, when you start mixing the two, are there potential RESPA violations involved here?
Yeah, they're tiptoeing a very, very fine line in my opinion. But, so that leads us to the next one, which over the last couple months, and especially now that we've passed the beginning of the year, now that we're, through February, a lot of it is kind of coming through, but taxes. There was a lot of stuff about taxes, and not many people know. And just to forewarn everybody, these meetings are probably gonna be 2 hours every, at the end, just to forewarn everybody for planning.
I said 12, under 2
Uh,
hours, yeah.
So taxes are huge, but what was awesome is that with all that talk, not much bad actually happened. And I'm pretty sure not many people know the specifics. Okay, how many people, other than really truly itemized stuff, the majority of people don't. A lot of people think that they were gonna lose a lot of taxes. In your opinion right now, where are we sitting as far as last year, this year? What's the difference? Can anybody really tell me?
Well, the
As
fact,
far-
Real estate taxes, as far as where we're sitting,
Real estate
write-offs.
taxes.
Yeah, as far as, well, like homeowners tax, like,
well, they can't
Well,
do, what was the new change?
There's a
that they-
limit on how much property tax you can
Yeah.
write off.
there we go, like things like
But
that,
then
exactly.
for this year, I don't think there's any change. Oh, no, it does change in 18, but it only affects states where property taxes are high. I think it's $6,000 or something.
The biggest ones are the biggest states, exactly, like
So it's
Florida,
not gonna
not
affect
Florida,
us, it
Hawaii,
affects California,
New York.
New York.
Yeah, so, I just wanted to play a kind of brief little blurb here, because, what's his name?
Tom.
Keeping Current Matters.
Gosh, you always ask me this and I forget his name.
Habib? It's not Habib, that's the other guy.
No.
Well, the Oracle of Real Estate, he's the owner of Keeping Current Matters, and this guy is just, he's very dry, so bear with the next 10 minutes, okay? But it's good information that a lot of buyers aren't operating off of facts, and it really, a lot of these things were good, actually, that they ended up passing.
To work with them, and a big part of it is the role that you guys play, helping us take this great content, and then we take it and help turn it into scripts and dialogues, and of course, let's face it, the people we work with are super ambitious, so, it takes a village. Thank you for being a part of it.
My honor, again.
Cool, so one of the things we should just go right into, Steve, are the big three, right? Tax exemption, right, the one-time tax exemption, mortgage interest rate deductions, and SALT, and there is just so much confusion about each one of these. Let's go through one at a time, and maybe let's eliminate the confusion, and then let's talk specifically about how they should be addressing their buyers and sellers so those customers can make a good, informed decision. So let's start with the one-time exemption. What the heck is going on?
First of all, I want to make sure that all your followers understand that there's still a lot of confusion. Even though the law has been signed into, or the bill has been signed into law, there's still a lot of confusion out there because there was a lot more coverage about the proposed legislation than there has been about what was actually passed. So there are some people out there, your clients and customers, even some agents, that still think that what was proposed was actually passed. So let's take a look at the one-time exemption for a personal residence. What was proposed that right now, well, prior to the new tax bill, it was a person had to live in the house 2 of the last 5 years in order to get that exemption. And the change was going to be that they were going to have to live in 5 out of 8 years. So instead of living 2 out of 5 to get that exemption, they were going to have to live in a house 5 out of the last 8 years. And what that was going to do was tie up a lot of inventory because people might wait a couple of years and get that exemption. And that would have tied up the inventory that would have been coming to the market in 2018, inventory we drastically needed. Well, some people still think that what was proposed was passed, when in actuality, the new tax code did not change that at all. It's still 2 out of 5 years. So what is the impact on the real estate market? Absolutely none. But the challenge is there are some people that think